Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Internet Friends, the episode where we decide we're all gay for Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, we decided that in the pre-show, but we can go back over that if we want.
Oh, yeah, no, we were just talking about Sinners, which is basically like, what, 1-2 months, like already, like, no longer a relevant topic to talk about on the internet.
But I
Yeah,
just saw
it's all
it.
about the yes.
And that's what's important. But we all agreed that, like, it could have been hornier, and, like, you know, if Haley Steinfeld had got, you know, Eiffel Towered by two Michael B. Jordans, like, that would have been perfect, but they were cowards.
Yeah, absolute cowards.
Well, it's Warner Brothers.
Speaking
What do
of-
you expect?
True. The hornier comment though reminded me. I was talking to a friend of mine. Did you both see the trailer for Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein that's coming out?
No.
I don't think so.
Actually.
All right. I can't remember the names of the two leads right now, but they're both very attractive men. And me and my friend were talking, and she was like, "Oh, I can't wait for the monster fuckers to get like Saltburn level freaky with this." And I went, "You think Saltburn is freaky?
Oh, honey.
Have you ever actually been on AO3? Have you seen DeviantArt? That is nothing."
I didn't watch that either.
No.
I avoided Saltburn because everyone was talking about it like it was the worst thing they've ever seen, but they're like, "You gotta watch it. It's so bad." I was like, "Well, then why would I watch it? I don't understand."
It's Parasite for straight or for queer people who think they're kinky but are actually quite vanilla.
I find that that's kind of a thing where it's just like every time like there's like this zeitgeist of everybody like, oh my god, this is so dirty and like kink and everything else, and then like I view it as just like, okay, we need to have a talk about what qualifies as kink.
Yeah.
Because y'all are just vanilla with like a little bit of chocolate chips on it at best.
Yeah. Drinking dirty bathwater is not kinky. That's something incels pay to do. Like,
You got called daddy once. That's not that kinky.
yeah.
yeah.
Like, look.
Everyone likes to be choked. That's not original.
No. Oh, you went down on her period? I've done that.
And this will go on Seth's TikTok later.
Yeah. This will be on the TikTok later.
Alrighty then. So anyways, as you can see, we're all chronically online millennials, and sometimes we need breaks from our phone. And so Bree's homework assignment was apps that basically told you to stop being on your phones.
Excellent segue. That one, we've had some rocky ones. That one was great.
Rock solid. Honestly.
That was S tier. But yes, Bree.
I wanted to try this because it's something that I've been working on myself, and I feel like I'll get more into this as we're chatting more about it, but I didn't recognize it as a problem until it got very, very bad. And I feel like the more I stopped using my phone or used it less, like I noticed a lot of differences, and I noticed a lot of my phone usage was connected to my mental health. So I was kind of like, okay, it's interesting how connected we are. And also I think Drew Gooden has a really good video kind of about this, about our time being wasted and how much we use our phone in general. And also I was reading a book called Stolen Focus, which talked a lot about this and how our attention span as a species has gone down substantially in the last few years. So I just kind of want to challenge you just to kind of see if this is a problem that y'all are having as well, and just kind of your own experiences. So whoever wants to go first, I'm gonna pick Seth. How about that?
Okay. I did not realize how addicted I am to my fucking phone. So I set it where I was like, I'm gonna have full access on the weekends. And then during the week from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. it's off. And like during the day, having that like, oh, I'm not able to access these apps, I did find myself instinctively reaching for my phone, but then being like, oh, that's right. Okay. Once it hit like 5:55 every day, I'm glancing at the clock. I'm starting to get the shakes and starting to like tremor. And man, 6 o'clock would hit and then I'd be on my phone for 3 hours. Like I would just immediately sucked into doom scrolling, doing whatever. And then, so because we are recording a week later than we usually would. So that was the first 2 weeks. The third week, I was like, I'm going to switch it around. Since I don't have the issue reaching for it as much during the day when I'm doing things and whatever, I'm going to make it like 8 o'clock at night. around 7:30, I'd remember that it was going to be shutting off soon, and I would pause it so that I could stay online longer. And I have a really unhealthy relationship with my phone, is what I found.
We could have told you that a long time ago, Seth.
Well, yeah. Anybody who's heard all of the internet references I make constantly knows I'm online too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also, yeah, it really did affect my mental health. Like, I found that, like, I knew that I used my phone as a distraction because I have a lot of intrusive thoughts and stuff. So, like, there are times when it's like, I'm not getting any stimuli, scroll, so I cannot think. I found that not being on social media, I wasn't having that issue anymore, which was interesting.
Yeah, I could see that.
But that was kind of my biggest takeaway from this.
I love that. Are either of you comfortable talking numbers? And if you're not, totally cool.
Yeah, we could talk numbers. I don't have probably as much data, but that's because I used a different app than you guys did. We had a conversation on Discord. So the app that Brie recommended was iOS based. I'm an Android user, so I'd look at other things.
Dirty fucking Android user.
Oh yeah, I know, it's a disease. I know, like, you get the green bubbles when I text you, even though none of us, I think, have our actual phone numbers. I don't think I talked to you guys. I don't think I have any of your guys' phone numbers.
I don't think I've used the iPhone messaging app in like 8 years. I just used a bunch of different ones.
I was about to say, like, I have like more. This will be part of it. So I used Forest, which basically worked a little bit differently in that basically there was a paywall for how you could like set time. So what you had to do was basically set like a timer instead, and the timer that you spent off of your phone, it tries to create a reward system, and it didn't really work super well for me. I didn't want to pay for the paywall like thing of the functionality after that. But it did give me kind of a sense, because what I find, especially with my job, like, I can't be on my phone at work because I do court reporting now. And basically lawyers and judges and bailiffs don't like it when you're on your phone in a courtroom or in a legal office. So, like, basically, like, when I'm at work, I'm basically just not on my phone. But where I have the biggest issue is in the mornings. Because that's where, like, if I get into a doom scroll first thing in the morning, like, literally my entire routine's fucked up, because I will be, like, because I get up relatively early for the most part, and, like, I could go to the gym, I could make myself breakfast, I can, take the shower, all that other kinds of stuff, but if I end up on a doom scroll, like, it's one of those things where it's just like, dude, you're just gonna waste all your time, and all of a sudden it's just like, dude, you don't have time to do any of these basic self-care, like, get ready for the day type things, because you wasted it literally on your phone. So that's where I found that worked best for me, because I know that's where I have the biggest problem. And we're all various forms of neurodivergence on this show. I definitely probably have some TISM and ADHD. I think all three of us do at this point.
Probably.
It's all those vaccines we got as kids.
Really, I think I just got the same brain worm that, like, RFK did, but it made me not, like, inherently a fascist. But regardless, anyways.
How do you get that brain worm? Because I've had worms before, but they weren't brain ones.
I'm so excited polio is coming back. I want polio back. That's what we've been missing.
We do need a good polio.
Oh yeah, I know. We need a good polio, and, like, let's bring back measles.
Yeah.
Why not?
Hey, like, I don't know about you guys. I'm a little nostalgic for COVID these days. That's only kind of a joke. There's a new variant.
There
is only kind of a joke.
I know. Oh God, when I had an excuse to not do anything all day.
Exactly.
Oh. I had a depressive episode this week where I was in bed all day for like Wednesday, and I was like, "This sucks. I hate myself. It's making it worse." When COVID never happened, I could just spout out all day playing Cuphead, and I was happy.
Yeah. But the thing that, like, I did notice, especially, like, again, with the morning routine, I also noticed, and Seth, this is me giving you credit where credit is due, I was getting a lot less TikTok, like, direct messages from Seth throughout the day. Like, Because like Brie, normally like if I get anything from you, it's like first thing in the morning, and then I don't hear from you forever.
Never again.
But like
Here's
Seth
a meme off into the night.
But normally, if
That
like
was a
if I
cape,
don't
what I did
if
there.
I don't get something from Seth within like 48 hours, like I'm like getting ready to like do a welfare check.
Absolutely.
But as this process went on, not seeing stuff from Seth, I'm just like, oh, he's like doing really kind of good. And I had noticed that Seth, like you weren't sending me stuff like in the middle of the day as much as like you used to. And like normally it was just like probably around like that, like, you know, later in the evening stuff is when we would start sending stuff to each other a little bit more consistently.
Yeah.
And I also can see kind of my social media like diet has died down a lot over the years. And we were talking earlier in the show about the TikTok ban and like how it was supposed to happen again, but this time nobody cared because we're all used to being gaslit by now.
Yep.
But like TikTok has gotten objectively worse, let's be fair. Which
absolutely.
None of us are surprised by, because obviously there's forces going on in the background that are changing things up. But like, you know, that's not the same app that it was like during pandemic times and like when we all kind of were all on it, and they've added features, they've changed the algorithm, and now it's just as garbage as like Instagram or anything else.
Yeah.
So my social media diet has died down at least. So that's going very well.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I am bummed that you didn't get to use Opal, because I did purposely pick Opal because it is a little brutal, especially when you see like the hard data of like it once it calculates everything and kind of gets a better idea of what you're doing. It tells you how many literal years you are losing by how much you are on your phone, and that shit is fucking harsh. So
Forest definitely wasn't as good. They tried to use more of a reward system of like, look at the forest you've built by not being on your phone kind of thing, and like they were just like, you were off your phone for the 2 hours that like you said you were going to be. It's like, no, I need the whip, I don't need the carrot in this situation.
And I think that's good, because I actually did used to use Forest, and very similar. I found it encouraging for a while, but then after a while I was like, oh well, this is just there's only so many different things you can plant, and like I don't know, there's a lot of
exactly. Like the reward system's just not there. I think that's definitely built for people who are like more farm simulator gaming type people who like that kind of like experience, but for somebody like me who doesn't have that like chronic gaming experience, just less like the reward doesn't mean much to me. So I would have preferred to have something like an Opal that's more just like, hey, you piece of shit, you're spending too much time on your phone. Stop doing that.
Yeah, sometimes you need that like rude awakening, as it were. Because the first time I used it, I was like, yeah, I'm on my phone a lot, but I don't think that much. But when it's like, oh, you're 23 years of your life on your phone, I was like, oh, that's a lot of time. I'm 35. So just like very, very brutal. Which I think sometimes people do need that, because I think it's very easy for us, and it might happen to both of you as well, where I think we underestimate how much our screen time is until you actually see it, and you're just like, oh yeah, I did spend that much time. And Aaron, to your point, the morning is a huge one for me, because it'll be 10 a.m. and I've already spent 4 hours on my phone because I get up so early. And if I've gotten to the point where I tend to charge my phone and leave my phone downstairs, because if it is in my room and I know it's in my room, I will absolutely grab for it, and I just don't have the self-discipline to like put it down after a couple minutes, because it's just like, and you lose so much time so quickly, because you can always justify, oh, did I check Instagram? Oh wait, did I check TikTok really quick? Oh, actually, and then you go into those loops, and it is watching yourself do it in real time is kind of frightening, because you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
And those apps are designed to do that. They are designed to suck you in. The entire reason TikTok became so successful and everybody has copied them is because it's just like, it's an infinite content loop. It just it doesn't end. It just keeps going and going and going. And that's
this video's not pinging the serotonin. Immediately to the next video. I don't got to type in a search bar. I don't got to go back to my recommended. Just swipe.
What I'm sure we've all had this experience. Like you're in the kitchen and you're making something, you have TikTok open, you put your phone down, and this just keeps looping the same audio
Yeah.
over and over again, and you don't even think to stop it, even though it is just basically the same thing playing over and over again.
You're like, yay, stimulation.
Yeah,
Which honestly is such a good point. Like how often that like I'll be like, oh, I gotta go fold my laundry. I better bring my phone with me and play a podcast while I'm
yeah,
like, I don't fucking need my
Yeah.
phone to do a simple task. But
yeah.
like I think it's gotten so normalized that like we need constant noise and constant just input. Otherwise our
Yeah.
brains will think too much. And it's gotten to a frightening point, I think, for a lot of people.
And one of the things
Yeah.
I've gotten into lately is instead of like having something on my phone playing something constantly, I will throw a podcast or like music or something up on my TV in my apartment.
Mm.
And then that's the background radiation, and that makes it less likely that I am just constantly on my phone. Because I find that I also like do that bounce around thing where it's just like I'm watching a video on YouTube. It's like, oh, I'm gonna check in on my Instagram and my TikToks, and like it's all just scatterbrain, and like there's no like consistency and nothing again because these things are designed specifically to prey on people who don't have very good attention spans, and
Yeah.
as a matter of fact just make it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I want to go back really quickly because I know you mentioned about the morning routine, because that's something, as a morning person, that's something that's like very important to me. That's like I have pretty high energy in the morning, and like my ideal morning is like I wake up, I clean a little bit, I pull my oracle card, I meditate, I hang out with my cats for a little bit, I read. Like those kind of mornings, I feel so fucking good because like I got to spend so much, like to your point, like self-care time. I got time to just like be by myself because obviously I work a fuck ton. So it's so nice to have that time and it's so vital for me. But how quickly, if I do have my phone, I completely blow my morning and then I don't have any of the stuff that I needed to take care of myself. And then I just feel like shit for the rest of the day. And I was like, for fucking what?
Yeah.
To watch a couple of TikToks?
Yep.
That was not, and it's frustrating because I know that, and yet I will still do it. So happens
Yeah.
pretty consistently. I was curious, because I was also gonna implement, because something that's been very helpful to me is like tech-free hours. So I will literally set a timer for an hour and I will not touch my computer, phone, anything. I will just do whatever. And I'm interested if either of you noticed you reaching for a different tech because you couldn't use your phone. Is that like a tendency that you had?
I don't have that
Well,
issue, but the reason I don't is that most of my other technologies, whether it's TV or my desktop computer or anything else, are like work based things for me.
mm,
And so it's one of those things where it's just like I can't even get myself to play video games because I associate my computer with work, and so just sitting
mm,
down and like trying to like play video games feels like work to me, and like it's actually been kind of rough. Like a couple days, it's like, oh, I have a few hours in the day, I can like fire up Baldur's Gate or something else and whatnot, and then I'm just like, no, I don't want to. And like I've also just I get home and like technically when I get home I'm supposed to like be submitting paperwork for work, and I just put it off until the next morning because I just don't want to deal with it. Like so, but that's a to me that's more of kind of like going back to like the morning self-care thing of
Yeah.
that like if I spent more time like doing the basic self-care thing in the morning, when I get home I would maybe like feel a little bit better and have the energy to actually like fire up a video game or put on kind of like a podcast or anything like that. But like yeah, no, because I associate technology so much with my job, I just don't want to interact with it by the time I get home.
Yeah, that's fair.
that's fair. I've always used my TV for background noise, so I didn't have a problem of like more TV. I did play a lot more video games over the past few weeks than
Mm.
I have in a long time, and that was definitely something that I noticed now that you bring that up.
Yeah.
So
No,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Bray.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, I was gonna ask the question of so since our phones are primarily a communication device, and I'm sure all of us have this. How do you feel like it affected your social interactions to like not be engaging with your phones on a consistent basis? Because I know me and my relationships, and I have certain people in my life where if I'm not on my phone and I'm not like responding right away, people get anxiety and like, or just like, are you okay? Is everything fine? So like, how do you guys kind of balance that? Because I know that was like a major problem with me, where if I don't respond to Emily in a timely manner, the first thing she goes to is like, he's dead in a ditch somewhere.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
Even though like
I've got that kind of anxiety too.
but in reality, I just took a nap.
Yeah. For me, I didn't really notice it. And maybe it's because I was doing like morning and afternoon when most people are working. And
Yeah.
then by the time 6 o'clock rolls around, I'm just talking to people like normal. Also, I have 4 friends that I talk to regularly, and 2 of them were doing this challenge with me. So
Fair enough.
like I didn't really miss out on much. But Brie?
Yeah. So part of what makes this difficult for me, as you both know, I am in a long distance relationship. So my partner is my phone a lot of the time. So it is kind of difficult for me to, in fact, and not to out my partner by any means, we did get into a fight kind of recently because he thought my tech free hours were free of him hours, which I recognize like in hindsight
Yeah.
why it would look that way, as if I needed a break from him, but I was like, no, and I had to explain this where I was like, here's the thing, I probably wanted to take that tech-free hour many hours ago, but I got so distracted that now it
Yeah.
seems like I'm doing it because of you, and really I'm just like,
Yeah.
holy fuck, I wasted so much time already. I need to get something done. Like, so that's been challenging, and it's also like yeah, because I want to be attentive and I want to be able to talk to him, but it does kind of I feel like ignite more of the which I think I would consider an addiction to my phone and addiction to tech in general, that I'm so attached to it. Because yeah, I'm like, if I'm waiting for him to respond to me, I'm also on Instagram, on TikTok, sending him TikToks, things like that. Like,
Yeah.
it is extremely hard to balance it. I also am an extremely social person. I do have a lot of different friends, and it is tough because
Brag. We get it.
I've
got all the friends Brie over here. All right.
I leave my house. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you have to do? Oh, okay.
It turns out they're out there.
You have to leave the house, and you actually have to talk to people, Seth.
Oh, fuck that. No, I won't. I will not do that.
It is challenging because like I will say, and I mentioned this like previous podcasts, but I'm like, I have lost friends because of like how I recognize, generally speaking, I'm not super responsive, but I'm like, I also am not that person. Like, and generally I'm not, because I'm just like, I am working 2 jobs. I am very busy. I'm very exhausted all the time. So I will never be that friend who is there like right when you need them. Like, I promise I will be there, but you got to give me a fucking second. So it is, and honestly, I think in a way, being more tech free allowed me to be more engaged with my friends, because when I was on my phone, I was able to check the text and be like, okay, they're talking about this. I can be fully engaged in it, versus when I'm like full in tech mode, I'm talking to them, but also flipping through all of these apps and talking to like 10 people at the same time. So I'm kind of like, I feel like it was actually helpful in that sense, because I like actually got to look forward to engaging with them. And I did make more like IRL plans, because I'm just like, very similar. Just like when you're so tech focused, you also don't, your tech is here. So I don't necessarily need to leave to engage with all of this stuff. And so yeah, I think that was actually better for me. It was just a slight miscommunication with my partner, but it is challenging to balance that with having a long distance relationship.
Yeah, I was about to say the long distance aspect of that is definitely a factor, especially if it's, somebody you have a relationship that you haven't talked to in a long time. Like, I'm normally super, like, I'm the opposite of you, Brie. Like, I'm hyper responsive, and that, like, I will get back to you, like, almost instantly.
Could have fooled me.
You're like, well.
Okay, Seth.
Learning a lot about my friendships today, as it turns out.
Do you want to go through our TikTok feed? Because there's some things that is not meant for public consumption.
There definitely aren't. Those chats can never be leaked.
Sorry, they have the group chats. But no,
Please continue.
But no, it's funny because like I sent that meme to our group chat on TikTok, which was basically the one person in the group chat who never responds to anything, and like Seth is just like, "This is me on Discord." It's just like, I meant it for Brie on this chat. I know she's here, but like she's just like she doesn't contribute much. But
You can send it to me, but I won't look at it either. So you know.
Exactly.
So this way, at least one person's seeing it.
But no, like I am that like person who like, because I'm conditioned it from work mostly because I've worked in operations thing where like as soon as you get a ping or an email, like you have 10 minutes to respond, and if you don't respond in 10 minutes, like you're up shit creek. Plus, my wife has generalized anxiety, so if I don't respond to a text right away, it's a problem. And so it's one of those things where it's just like I'm hyper conditioned to be responsive. And so like it's not conducive to my lifestyle. That being said, have you guys ever done the thing, and I've done this several times throughout like my life, where you've just deleted all social media off your phone? Like you maybe keep your accounts open, but you just delete the apps.
Yes.
No, I up until this, I've been in full denial about my social media addiction, and it really is a social media addiction, because those were the apps that were used the most and the ones that I had the most problem staying off of. But I always like conditioned myself to be like, no, it's not that big a deal, you know. Whatever.
I actually find that kind of interesting for you, Seth, because you, going back to your chronically onlineness, you've been on like the weird corners of the chronically online world.
Yeah.
So,
are you talking about space sticks?
Among other things, there was a Pink Lab, I think, back in the day.
Yeah, the Pink Lab back in the. I miss Pink Lab. That was a great one.
But like you, we're also products of the internet, and that like back in the day, like there was a million websites you can go to. Now we like just basically, I feel like we jump from Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and that's basically all my social media, really.
And honestly, I think that's partially responsible for me not thinking I did have like an internet addiction or social media addiction, is because 5, 6, 7 years ago, it's, you know, years ago, I would be all over the internet watching a bunch of different stuff, reading a bunch of different stuff, I was just spending hours on Reverb looking at guitars, to where now a lot of the apps on my phone I never open. And it's just like, all right, I'm bored of TikTok, I'm bored of Instagram. Let me open up Reverb. Let me open up Blue Sky.
Yeah, I recently hit on my phone being like, hey, you don't have enough space, and it was just like, okay, let me delete some photos. It's just like, oh, you only have like a few, like not a lot of data on my photos. Oh, you don't have a lot of data on your videos. It's all app data. It's all app stored app data. I was just like, but I don't even use like 90% of these. And I know, for the most part, none of us are mobile gamers, for the most part, as far as I can tell.
No, definitely not.
No. Yes. But I did have a point that I wanted to bring up with that is a complete tangent and can wait. Finish your thought.
Well, no, I was just thinking, it's just like, none of us are mobile gamers, so we don't use that to, like, kind of, like, kill time. Because I feel like back in the day, it used to be, like, we used, you know, we've talked about Pokemon, so I'm sure we all had Game Boys and played Pokemon growing up and everything. You know, that replaced reading the newspaper on the train. Instead, you played Pokemon while you were like on the bus or anything else like that. But yeah, like it's interesting how our media diets have shifted, and basically, like our phones have become time fillers for the most part. They're just literally there to fill your time, and we're really bad about keeping track of our own time, but especially because the phones and the apps are designed to keep our attention.
Yeah.
But anyways, Seth, what were you going to talk about on your tangential point?
So, the only time during the day that I really like specifically noticed, like, oh, it would be really nice to have social media to scroll right now, was while using the bathroom. And I didn't block any of the games that I have on my phone. So I was like, let me open up that game folder and see what's in here. I got Angry Birds. I got Tiny Wings. I got Temple Run. So I got to go back and revisit those games and have this like, oh my God, smartphones used to be so much simpler. Like that, like just, you know, pulling back on a bird and letting it go fly was like, this is a great way to kill time. Yeah. This is a great way to fill up my bus ride.
And it's not like gotcha, like microtransaction bullshit either. Like mobile gaming could have been an amazing thing, but then it just turned into like this weird copy paste, like thing that was basically designed as just like, hey, keep doing things till you run out of energy. Oh, you ran out of energy? Okay, well then pay $5 and we'll give you a full refill for the day.
You got to wait 12 hours and then you can open up Simpsons Tapped Out again, or pay for it.
Like, honestly, the one thing that it does is that basically, do I have a gambling addiction? Try to play a mobile game. Oh, this sucks. I guess not. Yeah, no, gambling's not my problem.
I guess I don't have a gambling addiction. I will say Tiny Wings still slaps. That is still a good time kill game.
If only Seth still had the original Flappy Bird. He could sell that phone for a lot of money.
That's exactly what I would do too. Pop needs a new set of teeth.
I do think it's an interesting distinction because of the fact that you're like, oh, I have a social media addiction. Because at least for me, I always thought that was the problem until I did exactly what Aaron said. But I've had several times where I've deleted all my social media apps, and that didn't fix the problem. I found different ways to waste my time on my phone, whether it was like going through my old videos, old photos, whether it was like, oh, I don't think I text this person in a while. Let me text this. Like I would find something else on my phone to do. And then I was
that's my thing. It's just like I just start like randomly just like cold texting random people. It's just like I need some kind of interaction.
Yes, I need some sort of stimulation. So I'm just like, I'm interested in, and I wonder if there's a stat out there about this, about like if those are one and the same, or those are two distinct separate addictions, or like I don't have that information. There's actually not. I was hoping to find some sort of like research paper to share with y'all, but the research is kind of this is sort of a new thing, especially how much it's causing issues now. I don't think people are, and to your like point, what you said before, Seth, is just like I don't think people realize how bad it is until you get like the raw data for it, or if you have a time where you don't have your phone on you. Because even tech free hours was something I was going to introduce into this challenge, but I didn't want to kind of like complicate things. But I remember the first time I did a tech free hour, how fucking anxious I felt. And I was just like, I don't know what to do. And thankfully now I'm at a point where it's actually such a fucking relief. Because I'm just like, oh, I don't have to talk to anybody right now. I don't have to be on social media. I found myself doing nothing a lot more, which was like kind of fun. Like I would just like look out the window. I would meditate more. I would just like spend uninterrupted time like playing and snuggling with my cats. And I was like, oh, it's a little frightening, especially how much time that I just enjoyed existing, which is not a thing I do all the time. So, and also just like, I don't know how much I didn't miss it. So it's weird how quickly it zaps you back in, because you're just like, it's so integrated into our society. I think it's kind of impossible. I don't think there's a point where we can like leave phones in the past. We need to be connected. Like it is necessary for your job. It's necessary for your family. But it has gotten so excessive.
Yeah, I remember my sister expressly advocated for me in college when I got my first smartphone, like for my mom to get me the smartphone, because she was just like, it was 2011, 2012 when I got my first smartphone. And my sister was just like, he needs to have this because this is the way the world is now.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's just like, I got by with a flip phone for all through high school and like, probably my first semester of college. But like eventually it's just like, yeah, like I can't imagine not like I've even like gone and looked. It's just like, okay, like do they still sell flip phones? Can we look?
Yes.
Yeah, like ones that like aren't like prepaid burners, but like a straight up like it has your SIM, it has like everything, and like it's no apps, no anything else, and like they exist, but like it's like basically it's like try to force yourself to live in 2008 again.
Yeah, I think people for my classes, we always have like a wraparound question, and a question that happens in my class a lot is, like, if you could give up one piece of technology, what would it be? And I would say 90% of the class always says their phone. And the answer I get a lot is, oh, I wish we could go back to like flip phones. But it's like, especially how integrated work is. Like, my work uses Slack. We use Trello. We use I have so many apps that are like associated with work. Even if I wanted to go back to a simpler phone, I don't think that's really applicable anymore. Like, it is too ingrained in what we do, unfortunately.
Well, on my For You page, I've been getting a lot of people talking about how they want BlackBerry back. You know, a phone that is a smartphone, but has very limited social media potential and would just be for work and taking photos and communication.
Yeah.
And I agree with that.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of nostalgia for BlackBerry these days. I might have sent it to you, Seth. It was like a reenactment of them like creating the first BlackBerry, and
Hmm.
like basically coming up with like it's just like because texts are encrypted, they can't tell how much you're texting. So now it's unlimited texting if you have a BlackBerry. Because back in the day,
Yeah.
you had to pay for texting.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
dark
We
times.
we we
Dark
we
time.
remember minutes.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Remember minutes?
I just saw a stand up doing a whole bit about minutes and text, and he's like, yeah, I hate describing this because people who are younger than me, it sounds like I was alive when the phone was invented.
Basically, yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
No, it's really weird as millennials because like we grew up with the technology, we understand it a lot more intrinsically. Because to people who are older than us, it was one of those things where it's just like you had to set up your parents' VCR back in the day. You had to do it. Like I grew up and became tech support for my mom growing up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And now we're at the point where younger generations like they're so used to how simple things like iPhones and iPads and everything else are that they have no concept of troubleshooting. They don't have any concept of like, it's just like, oh, I accidentally downloaded a Trojan off of LimeWire or any of those kinds of like things that like we collectively all knew how to do. Like we learned how to do all of these like really high techy stuff, and like at the time it's just like, oh yeah, it's like whatever, that's just what you do. And now
Yeah.
people look at you like you're a freaking genius.
100%.
Yeah.
And now, and Brie, I'm sure you've seen this also working in the corporate world much like I do. You show up there and people are just like, oh, you're so good with tech. And I'm just like, how do you not know
I
how to
have been
open a PDF?
I have been the tech
Yeah.
person at every job I've worked at, and I should not be the tech person. I barely know what's going on.
It is literally one of the things that blows my mind the most being in the workforce is just how specifically people who own and run these companies and are making all the money have absolutely no idea how to do any job that specifically is under them
No.
or even their own job.
100%.
Yeah.
It is like pulling teeth, and it was just kind of like just I'm not a genius. Like, I'm not that techie when you
I
look at the
promise
spectrum.
you.
I don't know how to code. I don't know how to, like, sure, I built my own computer, but those were, like, predetermined parts. It's just like, you put this thing here. Plug in thing, turn on.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know how to
But,
power cycle. I know what that means. That's pretty much like my
yeah,
solution to everything. So I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I gotta plug in a lot of power cycle.
yeah.
They're like,
But, like,
whoa.
but yeah, no, when I first started my job, the first thing that, we're trained on is remote tech. And basically it's like a bygone thing of like basically the COVID era where we were all on Zoom, and basically what the job is like you facilitate the Zoom meeting, you handle all the things that basically lawyers have no idea what to do. Like they don't know how to share a screen, they don't know how to like work a PDF, they like don't know anything, and so it's just like you're just there to facilitate being on the meeting, telling them
I,
what to do with their camera, checking their microphone, telling them how to unmute themselves. Just
Jesus.
that.
This reminds me of a video I saw during COVID, which was lawyers deliberating, and one of them couldn't figure out how to get the like chipmunk effect off of their face.
Amazing.
Yeah. All right, so Bree, be honest with me. What do you use for work? Is it Teams or is it Slack or
Well,
something
so
else?
actually, we used to
What gives
use
you
Teams.
PTSD?
So many things. So the studio I work with, the studio I work with, like I've worked there for almost 6 years now, and we have used everything under the fucking sun. We've used Asana, we've used Slack, we've used like I Trello, we like, and we switch it all the time. So it is like so frustrating. And then we used to use Teams at my old job. We used Jabber before at my other job, and now we have an internal messaging system which does not work super well. But yeah, so many of them. I would say I think Asana was the worst. It was like a poor man's Slack. Slack works a little bit better, but my Slack has 18,000 channels that they ping all the fucking time. So you know what?
Yeah.
Slack. Now that I'm thinking about it, so
Oh yeah,
I've had to mute so many channels because I'm like, this doesn't involve me. Shut up! Stop tagging me.
Yeah, no. We used Slack back when I was at Discovery, and yeah, that literally the Slack ping sound I have PTSD from. Like, I had to make sure to actively, like, have all of my volume turned off on all of my devices that had Slack on it, because if I heard that in the middle of the night when I was off shift, it would just basically just be, like, a instant panic attack.
100%.
And then, but Teams is what I've used in the last couple of years, and, like, I was just like, how do you guys make Slack seem like it's so much better than it is? Because you guys suck so bad. Why does Microsoft suck so bad?
It's simply.
I know why Microsoft sucks so bad. It's mostly antitrust, but regardless.
Yeah.
You're like, I know the reason, but why? Oh my goodness. But yeah, I'm glad you guys. It seems like you got something from the challenge, regardless. So
absolutely, yeah.
I did have like two kind of like small thesis points, and hopefully I'll remember both of them. I'm only remembering one of them right now. But actually, so the first one is something that Aaron kind of touched on. I do think we are getting to a point where one, we have no fucking attention span, and we are the most impatient goddamn people on the earth. And I think social media is a huge part of that, because we just need that constant interaction, that constant input. And like a sidebar, but I think this is very adjacent. I think Amazon has also ruined this for us, because we expect everything instant fucking taneously, and that is not the way things are supposed to work. I think it's tearing apart small businesses and things like that. Because we've just gotten so impatient. And I think it's also kind of teetered on not having proper boundaries with people. I think work, especially, not having boundaries with their employees, because you are so accessible all the time. It is like, anytime I miss a Slack message, let me tell you, they will message me. And there's been several times where I'm like, I work another job. You need to fucking chill. And I think it is kind of, as dramatic as it sounds, kind of eroded a lot of our society, because I'm like, we shouldn't be this connected all the fucking time. Like, we do need to step away from our tech and just let ourselves think. We need to be bored. We need to allow ourselves play, as like simple as that sounds. But like, I have found I'm even more creative. I make better choreography when I don't have my tech on me constantly, because I'm letting my brain actually cycle through and not constantly take that input. So that's one major thing. Two is, I feel like, especially the state of the world, and especially our country, I feel like a phrase that I've been hearing a lot recently is cruelty is the point. And I think that is a huge thing, but I think distraction is also the point as well, because I feel
absolutely,
like we, especially with TikTok and all that going on, I think it is helpful to have that information. I think especially as white people, I think we do struggle with wanting to be informed, but also bombarding ourselves with information. I think there is a middle ground that we can meet, where we could still be engaged, but also engaged in our actual lives, because I feel like we are just constantly getting bombarded with so much shit that we're missing the main point. Actually, I think a lot's going on that we're not paying attention to, that we're not privy to, because we're not allowed to be able to think about it properly, because we are constantly getting all this shit thrown at us all the time. So that is my main thesis for all of this.
No, and I think both of those are extremely valid. Like, I have the biggest problem. Like, the one thing I will not turn push notifications off for is Associated Press, and like, honestly, that's probably the worst one for my mental health, because it's every morning, waking up in the morning, it's like, so this morning, Trump decided to bomb X country. It's like, motherfuckers. And like, it's
this week's been bad for that too.
Oh, it's been. I mean, it's weird. It's like we could have told you that back in November. Anyway,
crazy.
It's like we dealt with 4 years of it
I have
before.
things to say about that, but you know,
not a political show. Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Everything.
But no,
I
like-
almost went on a like means of production rant while you guys were talking a minute ago.
Trust me, like we're all there. I was talking about building a guillotine during the pre-show. Like we're all
true.
we're all ready to go as far as that shit goes. But
All
like,
great in America right now.
But no, like Bree, to kind of your point, it sucks wanting to be an informed person in this world because you have to have access to this information in order to be informed about it, and it's important. Like I take that really seriously. I went to journalism school. I studied it. I understand like kind of media literacy and how bad it is when people don't have access to information.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have the other side of that, where it's like when you have so much information and it's not getting filtered properly, and basically anybody can post anything and tell you anything that they want, and there's powers that be that will exploit that to tell you certain other kinds of pieces of information. Like we live in a really, really stressful time when it comes to information because you don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah.
And it's inherently frustrating. And, you know, Brie, going back to your point, we're 3 white people. We're trying to be the best people that we can. We're trying to support communities that aren't as privileged as we are. But also at the same time, we have to be cognizant of just like, I'm not in your community and I shouldn't speak over your community.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's always that back and forth. And like, there's things that I have opinions are, but I'm just like, that's not my lane.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think we have to be conscientious, especially as white people. Like, I feel like there's a tendency towards like self-flagellation, for a lack of a better term, where it's just like, oh, I have to keep ingesting all of this news all the time. But like, yeah, exactly. And
pat me on the back.
Yes, and also it's if you're like taking on all the information. My old therapist would tell me this all the time. She's like, "Are you really helpful to any cause if you are so overwhelmed that you are depressed, laying in bed, just feeling hopeless?
Yeah.
Does that fucking help the cause?" So it's just like we have to moderate that a little bit too. Like, absolutely continue to educate yourself and support your communities, but you do have to take care of yourself also. Like, you do have a life to live. There is somewhere in between that we can meet at.
Yeah, I forget what who the quote is attributed to, but it's like, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention. But also at the same time, there's the fact of like, like if you put yourself in a hole, who are you really helping?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's the hard part. That's why, like, I think it's important to have creative outlets. You know, Seth, you have music. I've had a lot of, you know, this podcast is an outlet for us. Where we get to kind of talk about this stuff. Like, honestly, like, it's great having you guys here because I actually get to talk about this shit.
Yeah, same.
Because, you know, especially in my line of work, like, I'm just like, I have to be very measured about who I'm talking to. It was actually kind of really funny. So, I was talking about the work I was doing in DC, and so my videographer who I was working with, you know, we were just, he was a super nice guy. He was actually really great. Because we were there during Pride, you know, he talked about, it's like, yeah, no, my fiance is bisexual, like, she's gonna have a good time at Pride. I'm staying home because I'm just a straight guy and I don't want to be at Pride. And I was just like, I feel that. I dropped my wife off and her friend at a lesbian bar in DC like a few weeks ago. It was just like, have fun, honey. I'm gonna go to the jazz club a few blocks away because there's a live performance there and it's actually looks really cool. But it's just like, again, but like respecting the spaces that other people are in.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But then you also have to figure out how to be a good ally when you're a straight white guy like me.
Yes.
100%.
I choose to just punch Nazis, but, you know, to each their own.
But that's an ally to everyone. That's not an ally to any specific group.
Yeah, but that's an easy one, because, like, you see bald white guy punch Nazi in face, you're just like, oh, that guy's cool.
Oh, thank goodness. Also, support your local library. A very easy way to support your community, especially now. Libraries need all the help they can get. So,
absolutely.
Yep. And then also promote artists that you really enjoy and really like. There's a lot of people out there who are grinding every day for their passion projects, and so when you come across like Seth, I've been sending you stuff with the Paradox a lot lately, and like, you know, like they're like a pop punk band who's like local and they're like really young, and like it's just like, it's been really exciting seeing, you know, this young band who's like getting a lot of attention and all that other kinds of stuff, bringing back like what I consider to be kind of a dead genre at this point. So like that's been really, really fun to watch.
Yeah,
there's a lot of ways to contribute. our communities need us. That's all there is to it. So.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, go write a song, go read a book, go walk your dog, touch grass.
Disconnect for a little bit.
I was like, meet your friends at a restaurant or a bar or whatever instead of just chatting on phone all day. Like, just do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself.
Flip
Do
over
what my-
cars. Go cow tipping.
Yeah. You know, throw a Molotov
Set-
cocktail at
settle-
police.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harass and I say
Well, hey. we might get arrested when you saying that one.
By the way, fuck ice.
I was
Yes,
saying, no
fuck
ice
ice.
in here, let me tell you.
I always drink straight from the can.
It's like, I never put ice in my whiskey.
Oh, can we fucking talk? No, we probably shouldn't. About like those cutesy signs that were at No King's Day. Like, how do you?
Yeah, I saw a lot of them, and I was like, friends, this isn't a fashion show. This is
Yeah.
actually really serious.
This is not.
I drove past some demonstrators. Like, we're all basically lined up all across my local streets when I was driving around, and like, you know, solidarity, all that kind of stuff. But it was just like there was a lot of old white.
You're not the main
liberals.
character.
Yeah, there was a lot of main character syndrome going on. I was like, and the main thing, my thing was, it's just like, you know, there's a lot of white people here.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing a lot of diversity in this protest. Don't get me wrong, like, again, solidarity, but like, clearly you guys did not do a very good job of creating a space. And again, it goes back to that, like, white people just wanting a pat on the back.
It's true. I mean, I'm glad they're doing something. I will say, like, to your point, Seth, like, I saw a lot of the best nails and outfit to wear for your protest. It's like, friends, cover your face. Like, turn your phone off. Like,
yeah,
you
don't take your phone there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, hey, have safety goggles in case tear gas.
Yes, like, this is serious business. Like, it's not a fucking fashion show. We don't need your best fits of the protest. Just fucking go and be there and be genuine. Like, that's all we're asking.
We don't need you getting engaged in front of all of the police officers lined up on the opposite side of the street.
It's not a photo op. But, like, it was one of those things where I was just kind of like, look, I'm all for peaceful protest, but at the same time, it's just like, you guys are missing the plot.
Some people, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, DC was weird that weekend because I was there on I had to go in on the Friday. They had blocked off all the main roads into DC, but surprisingly, traffic actually wasn't bad because everybody was trying to get out of DC.
Oh,
I can see that.
Nobody wanted to be there, as we saw from the actual parade footage.
Yeah, from Trump's parade. No one wanted to be to that. It's so funny. It's like Simpsons level comedy where it's this military parade and the footage is a tank squeaking by an empty crowd.
Every time.
Just
and his grumpy face just sitting there.
Just
no.
Sponsored by UFC and Coinbase.
It's so hilarious that like it is the classic fascist imagery to have a like, you know, military parade of like show of force. Like it is like that such classic kind of thing that we've seen, and yet somehow like they made the most pathetic version of it.
Yeah,
it was so sad. It was beautiful.
It was great.
Fucking loser.
Now he's bombing Iran.
Yeah, well, not yet.
No,
but he will be soon.
What do you mean?
Yes.
I've never heard this before.
Going to Bree's distraction point, the whitest kid you know bit about like the moon base with bears and everything, and then it ending with just like, shot in the dark here. Are we bombing Iran right now?
Yeah. I was thinking about this earlier. I'm like, it's funny how it seems as though we're moving kind of in reverse to like what happened in the early 2000s, because there was the false flag attack. Then, we've got to go to war. They've got weapons of mass destruction. And now it's, we've got to go to war. They've got weapons of mass destruction. And everyone being like, nah, I've heard this before. We're not going to. And now a lot of people are like, wow, you should probably be careful in big cities for the next few weeks.
Yeah, no, I've constantly said it's just like, being so close to DC, it's just like when things pop off, they're going to pop off.
Very close to Chicago, so.
Fun times.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, hey, at least we're all too old to get drafted.
Are we? They might extend it if they need to. People were drafted up to 40 in World War II.
Yeah, World War II. I think the cutoff now was 28, but yeah, obviously they could change that.
Oh, okay.
Well, if the president can dodge the draft,
hope
surely
they
I
don't.
can.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, this is my
Yeah,
patriotic
exactly.
duty to not
How
go.
hard could it be?
Look, it was cool it was cool when Muhammad Ali did it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've seen so many people on my For You page be like, if you draft me, the second you give me a gun, I'm shooting my CO. Like this. I will go through all the. This was a proletariat repair video. He's like, I'll go through all the training. I will do everything necessary. You hand me that gun, pow! And then
my joke is like, I already have the gun. Come and get me.
Yeah, fair.
Oh my god.
Oy.
It's went in a wild direction. But,
This did.
It's not planned for us. Anyways.
Again,
time.
not a political show, even though we absolutely are.
It is.
Yes,
This has been a long month when it's come to politics, and the three of us haven't been able to talk at length about any of it with each other yet. So,
and Bree intentionally keeping us off her phone. I think she might be a psyop.
yeah.
no. Who, me?
Who are you? Under the desk news, telling us not to pay attention to what's happening in Gaza?
Oh God!
Guys,
Remember when she was actually great?
Yeah. Kinda. I
For like 5
I started
minutes.
watching their content like a month before that.
Yeah, no, I was getting their stuff a lot, and then like it just slowly deteriorated. I'm just like, why is this always the news person on TikTok to, crappy leftism pipeline?
Yeah.
Oy.
Anyways, socialism works if we let it. That's all I
Yeah. Yeah.
We do have enough. We're just studying to Israel.
Yeah.
We do. Oh, you know what? I stand by the fact that I don't want Americans to have socialized healthcare, but my taxes better be going to pay for Israel's socialized healthcare.
100%.
I stand on that
For other
opinion.
white people.
Hey, I don't want to pay for kids' education and meals for them to basically survive, but make sure they have Bibles in school.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And we could also cut a baby out of a dead woman because, it's really
Oh my God.
I'm like, we have to talk about this. Really
Oh my
Hated
God.
that.
She's brain dead. Let's turn her into an incubator and pump her full of like anything to keep her body from decaying.
I'm decomposing because she's dead.
I got the push notification for that article, and I like just told Emily, I was just like, I'm gonna fucking lose it. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Well, especially, and I know I've mentioned this in a previous episode, but I'm like, as somebody who tried to get sterilized and I was not fucking allowed to, they're never gonna stop at one thing. They're never gonna be like, oh shucks, we just don't want abortions. We just really love babies. Now we're keeping corpses alive to potentially keep a baby alive. This is so fucked. This is so dystopian. I'm like, it's only gonna get fucking worse.
Yeah.
We can't just be baby factories. Horrifying to be a birth giving person here. Like, it's
And if
so
anybody
scary.
thinks it's anything other than having women be baby factories, you are wrong, objectively.
They're never gonna just stop at abortions.
Because every time we have the ability to prevent pregnancies, guess what they start trying to stop having happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am still very glad that when Emily got, her tubes removed a few weeks ago, that like not a single person asked me a single question about it as far as medical professionals go. Because if somebody had asked me, I would have been like, get the fuck out of my face and go provide my wife with the healthcare that she's seeking.
Absolutely.
Because it's healthcare.
That's none of your fucking business.
It's just like, but as her husband, what's your opinion? My opinion doesn't fucking matter.
Sure doesn't. It's her body, and she's old enough to make that decision. Also, can we just talk about for a minute? Like, of course, it was a black woman because they always have been using black people as medical experiments since like the dawn of fucking time. So fuck off times fucking 12 with that. How fucking dare you? Like, that is infuriating. And again, I reposted the video on TikTok, but that woman who was screaming about like, stop saying she gave birth. She wasn't alive. It was a
she was dead.
She was a human test tube, literally.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that as a way to dehumanize her. I'm trying to say it to dehumanize the people who did that to her.
100%. They already dehumanized her. Like, ugh,
Yeah.
infuriating.
They turned her corpse into a science experiment. That is not what you do to humans.
That like
Yep.
that is.
What
I
you
believe
shouldn't
there's.
be doing.
I believe there's
Yeah,
many
exactly.
papers. There's many papers on ethics that specifically say why you don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Uh,
What a fucking nightmare it's been.
It's been a ride this month. The last 20 days.
Speaking of rides, what's your Subway hot take?
Oh.
I actually thought about this recently.
A tier segue. I've been thinking about this question since you asked it in the last pre-show we did, because I was like, I don't think I have one. I have one, but go ahead.
Oh boy. Oh, hold on. I don't know if I remember mine. Give somebody else go. Now I'm nervous.
Aaron?
Guys.
I don't know. I think mine might be too hot for the show.
Mine is very on brand for me.
Well,
I think HBO is responsible for ex-evangelical men of our generation having a healthy relationship with sex, kink, and pornography.
Oh, that's a very
And it's
interesting take.
Hey, it's thanks to shows like Real Sex, which was a documentary series for people who don't know, about examining different kinks from just a look at this and not look at these weirdos who like dressing up like ponies. Like, it was just this is a kink, and interviewing the people who are into that kink and presenting it as healthy and natural. You have Real Sex Extra, which, going against the Real Sex naming, was a documentary about the porn industry and showcasing that it's just a job. It's a fantasy. The things they are shooting in porn are meant to look good, not feel good. This is not something you should be aspiring to. And then Katie Morgan's 2-part sex education class, which I watched a lot when I was 15. Tons of valuable information for an evangelical who's not getting a proper sexual education.
Yeah.
And then you've got like Cat House, which again, I haven't watched these shows since I was a teenager. There's probably a whole fuck ton wrong with every single one of them. But I genuinely believe that, like, you know, if I had been raised purely with what I had gotten from the church and my parents who were very awkward about talking to me about sex, I wouldn't have a healthy relationship with sex as an adult.
Yeah.
I can see that.
That's an excellent
That's
take.
mine.
I love that.
Thank you.
That's an excellent take. Yeah. Do you know what? I hold on. I have two. So what I finally remember my original one, which was I think anonymity on the internet was a mistake. I feel like the way that people have, honestly, especially on I won't say TikTok and Instagram, but I want to give two quick examples. And I might have mentioned one of them before. On Instagram, I might have mentioned this, but there's a trans person talking about being in the bathroom, and the top comment was a woman saying, "If you are in the bathroom with my daughter, I'm going to curb stomp you." And she said those words verbatim. And I reported the comment, and Instagram said that was just fine. They said there was no abuse, there was no threat on life. So and I'm just like, and another one was just there's been a wave of this on TikTok of people talking to Black people and saying like, "Oh, you should come here, there's a lot of nice trees here for you," like obviously like indicating lynching. And I'm just like, how the fuck did we get here? Like, that is some out of pocket wild fucking shit. I'm like, I feel like we need to like have a better, and I hate to like say censorship, but like a better filtering system where like if you're gonna say something like that, I want to say it with your whole chest button. And if you post it, it's your full fucking name, your employment, and where your current fucking location.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be that fucking bold, say it with your whole fucking chest. Like I think it's like this has gotten to a level that is so beyond that. You're talking about curb stomping people and lynching people in 2025. What the fuck? Like, I know this has always like been in the background, but the fact that it's so in the foreground now because of the anonymity aspect of it, I'm like, something has to be done. This is so fucked.
Yeah.
So that's my first one. But
I agree.
For my
So, for personal reasons, I can't necessarily share mine in public view, but I could talk about them in the after show.
Okay. All right.
Fair enough. But like, I do have a couple, but yeah, I don't necessarily feel comfortable sharing those in public. I hope you guys understand. Going back to anonymity kind of question, but like,
but Brie, to your point, anonymity anytime you are allowed a space on the internet where you don't have to show your face or your name, you will find the worst things possible and the worst comments, the worst responses, because people feel embiggened by that anonymity. And it sucks. It's awful.
Yeah, it's why comment sections are literally like the worst things that, like, honestly, comment sections probably are like the worst thing you could possibly look at in terms of just the things people will say and think that are okay. And literally just there's cesspools in some places, especially if it's on a popular video. Seth, you've had a couple of things pop off over the years, and people take things out of context. They'll politicize them in a certain way, even though like it had literally nothing to do with whatever, like, you know, political take they commented whatsoever. And
sometimes they're just stupid. And they it's like, did you even watch the fucking video? Like,
no, my favorite is when somebody is just like, imagine if a man had done this, and it's just like, dude, like, get the fuck off. Just shut the fuck.
That is so fucking insincere.
Like, it's just like it's just like, oh well, if when Republicans do it, it's just like, I wasn't even making political commentary on this one, but since you brought it up, let's have that conversation, bud.
Let's do it. Well, and I will say it's such a bummer too, because like I like reading comment sections because sometimes they're fucking gold, and sometimes people are so fucking funny. Sometimes there's a comment that, like, a top comment that is funnier than the fucking video I just watched. So I'm just like, I hate that we're like missing that genuine connection, because that's what that should be there for, to like start a conversation. And like, I certainly don't think it's to the point where it's like, well, you can't say anything critical online. That's absolutely not what I'm talking about. Absolutely, you could be critical of something, but we're getting to the point where it is such abusive, hateful language that, okay, I think we've completely passed that bar now. Like, I think we need to go back and have some form of I don't know. We have to do something, because this is fucking out of
Well, like it also goes with thinking, like, a word that gets thrown around way too much this day is like good faith, bad faith, right? And like so much of the anonymity, you know, on the internet makes it to where basically there's a lot of people just constantly approaching everything in bad faith. Like,
the
they
worst
have no
faith possible.
well, they have no interest in actual dialogue. They have no interest in actually changing their mind about anything. They're just basically just like, you know, throw in the smoke bomb, let it go off, and then just have the whole chaos ensue. They don't care about actually like having a conversation or having a solution to a problem.
Yeah, 100%. I think comment sections definitely kind of perpetuate that, because people are in their own echo chambers and they're like, well, this guy in this comment section agreed with me, so I guess it's okay that I say really awful shit all the time.
Yeah.
I guess my hot take is that nothing on the internet is real.
No.
And that, but like, in that, like, every time there seems to be like a huge controversy that comes online, it's like everybody is so upset about such and such doing such and such thing. And it's just like, who's upset? I haven't seen a single person actually say anything about this whatsoever. The only people I hear saying that this is being said are the people saying, like, I can't believe people are saying this. Like, I'm just like, are we just creating the drama for the sake of clicks? And like, that's what basically happens, is that people are constantly, you know, creating the drama for the sake of clicks. And like, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of like shitty people on the internet who are saying shitty things. But in general, it's a small amount of people, and we can easily ignore them.
Absolutely. And being TikTok famous is not being real famous. Nobody knows who you are.
No.
As people who grew up, as people who grew up.
Say psych right now.
As the people who grew up in the YouTube famous era, like, it's just like, it's never gonna happen, kid.
Yeah.
So many of them tried to cross over and were met with, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, exactly.
I remember when Ray William Johnson popped up on my TikTok feed. I was just like, you're still alive.
Yeah.
I forgot about you on purpose.
There's been a few that have popped up, and I'm just like, oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I remember.
Scroll away.
I remember one day I was just like, is Epic Mealtime still a thing? It's like, oh yeah, they still upload. They only get like,
oh wow,
like 5,000-6,000 views a video, but they still exist.
Sure. Hey, good for them. Keep on trucking.
But like, no, it's a weird world. But like, yeah, it's just like it's called 15 minutes of fame for a reason, guys. And like, you know, Sure, there's some people who have able to capitalize on one big hit video, but like it's fleeting, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. Really quick, I did remember my second hot take, which is not that hot, and I might have mentioned it before, but uh Brene Brown has this really great book that she released a couple years ago called The Atlas of the Heart. And one of the things that she her like whole thesis is that most of the world's problems would be solved if we had more emotional intelligence and more vocabulary in which to talk about our different emotions. Because
Mm.
and they did a lot of studies on this that if you ask a random person how many emotions there are, they would say five. And it's usually like sad, angry, happy. Like it's they can only identify five, and they've identified 65 emotions that we can experience. And
Oh
a lot of the
wow.
reason miscommunication happens is because people can't accurately talk about how they feel. And just to
Right.
give like a quick example, something that I recognize that I feel a lot, and it's because of this book that I recognize it, is resentment. Especially when
Mm.
somebody's like has a lot of time off. I'm so mad because I don't have a lot of time off and I'm like, I'll be so fucking pissed about it. I was like, I'm just upset because I don't get to rest as much as it's nothing they've done wrong. I have no
Right.
reason to be mad at that person, but I can be like, oh, this is what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling it. And one of her first chapters, she also talks about the difference of being overwhelmed versus, uh, uh, I know this is kind of a funny term, but like overwhelmed versus being blown. And I'm just like, there is
Mm.
like a completely difference. Like one, she's mentioning like, oh well, I just like I have a lot going on. One is you're in the walk-in cooler at work and you can't make decisions anymore. Like having that ability
Yeah.
to differentiate those emotions is extremely helpful because then you're not misusing like I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. It's like you're not overwhelmed. You're completely fucked up right now. Like you get to a
Yeah.
point where you are so overwhelmed that your brain cannot
Yeah.
fire anymore. So it's
You've dissociated it. Just like
yeah, a
Yeah.
hundred
yeah,
percent.
there's that difference.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
definitely been blown in a walk-in many a time. um,
I was waiting for Seth to have a joke, and he did not disappoint.
it's like I started smiling, laughing at my own joke, and I'm like, "Don't do it! Don't do it! Oh, there's an opening! All right."
My time to shine.
It's a constant struggle. We have to not talk over Brie.
You're doing
Well, it's
so
we're cis men, just listening to a woman talk is hard enough.
It's like Brie, you'd
Yap,
be so
nag,
much
nag,
prettier
nag.
if you smiled more.
I hate it here.
Ugh. But no, you're right. I agree with that we do need to recognize more emotions, because I myself have found points where I'm like, I'm not feeling this and I'm not feeling that. It's somewhere in between here, and I don't have the word for it. I don't have the
Yeah.
vocabulary for it, so I can't even fully dissect it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and him have had a conversation. Like, there's the concept of like every couple has 3 fights. Like, all 3 of your fights boil down to like one of 3 things. Like, and like you can treat them like more like, case by case basis, but like a lot of the times, most of your fights boil down to, like, for example, me and Emily have just the biggest thing is just like how me and Emily problem solve. She has to lay everything out in like the proper order before she can execute. I am nope, thing right in front of me. Everything else doesn't matter. And like, so one of our biggest fights is she's trying like, well, should we do this? Should we do this? Should we do this? And I was just like, I've already decided we're doing this. Stop giving me more suggestions. Stop changing the plan. We're already doing the thing.
Yeah.
And so we've had discussions about what the other 2 are, but it is one of those things where it's just like a lot of times you can boil down your behaviors to like just like more or less personality aspects more than anything else.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a thing that like I've come across pretty often. But Brie, you're right in terms of like the emotional intelligence aspect of like identifying just kind of like, okay, are you really feeling this, or is it this instead, or is there like something tangential to it?
Yeah.
Because again, like you said, like the feeling of being overwhelmed is like, am I overwhelmed, or am I just completely just burnt?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like going back to kind of what we talked about with the mornings and specifically the challenge that we did. Again, it's just like I wake up in the morning and it's just like, is it the fact that I'm on my phone, or am I, when I'm awake, like, do I just kind of like zone out and just can't really, I just have that executive dysfunction of just like, I can't start a task and like follow through with it.
Yeah.
So like
It's
I
important
struggle
to
with that a lot.
get that. Yeah. No, absolutely. I think one of the things that examples I think of a lot, and I don't know if you either of you are on this like part of TikTok, but I'm not on a lot of like fitness TikTok, and unfortunately, so many fitness influencers are so fucking toxic and hate fat people so much. And I
Yeah.
kind of harken that back to the resentment thing. I was like, I don't think they actually hate fat people. What I think they hate is somebody being happy in a body that is bigger than theirs, and maybe
Yeah.
they were big at that point and weren't that happy, so they're just like they're absolutely projecting to just be like, no, there's no way they're happy because I'm only happy when I'm like this. Like I think it
Yeah.
kind of unfortunately shifts their like concept of reality, and it's not
Mm.
their what they're
Yeah.
defaulting to is I'm angry because of you. And I'm like, that's not the situation.
Yeah.
You're angry because you're
No.
feeling something that's
Yeah.
you're anticipating something that that person's feeling, which is not the case. Like they're just living their life and you're being angry for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially as somebody who's been
You're
close
not
to like
angry that they're overweight. You're angry that you're insecure about the idea of you being overweight. And that insecurity,
Yes.
because you
Yeah.
haven't processed it, makes you feel uncomfortable. So you've got to give a name to that feeling that you can't give a name to.
Beautifully said. That's exactly it.
Also, the fitness
Thank
space
you.
is rife with grifting and just like horrible toxic influencer culture that like again, as soon as somebody gets a sponsor for somebody, it's just like, hey, everybody, all this stuff is garbage. Try this thing, and then it creates that like entire thing. It's peddling.
Yeah.
Because again, I've been close to it because I've been around that kind of stuff all my life. Like it's why I've told my father-in-law just like I'm never gonna get into powerlifting or bodybuilding because a lot of these men die before 50 from heart failure, and they're pushing steroids and going on testosterone and all this other kinds of stuff, and just like it's just like this isn't health and this is not fitness. This is the opposite of that. You are killing
It's
yourselves
capitalism.
to prove a point, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
capitalism exactly, and it gets and like the fitness industry especially is like rife with it, and there's always a new snake oil. There's always a new thing. It's just like, dude, like it's just that's why I told him it's like, guys, I can't be in on this. Like, I'm not as healthy as I could be, but I'm pretty okay for a 32-year-old.
Yeah.
100%. Well, and I think that's an important distinction because like I think again, I think all of that harkens back to capitalism because it's just like you are easy to profit off of when you hate yourself and they can fix the problem of you
Absolutely.
hating yourself. So just like unfortunately I think that's a huge factor as well. And it's something that kills me about the fitness space because and I know I've mentioned this before and I won't go too off topic, but like as a like foundational fitness instructor, I can't tell you how many people come into my studio and apologize for just existing. They're just like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not strong enough to be in this class. Like, I've waited 5 years to go into the studio because I was so nervous that somebody was going to make fun of me. And that breaks my fucking heart every
Yeah.
time. I'm
Yeah.
just like, that's what these influencers are doing. So,
Yeah.
huge fuck you to them. They need to just
Yeah.
process what's going on because it's not actual anger at fat people. They're not bothering you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
No.
also like the gym shaming things of people recording people at the gym. It's just like, dude,
Oh,
you
God.
gotta fucking
Yeah.
stop.
That also that hurts my heart so much because I'm just like, if you because it's always, oh, I just care about their health. I was like, no, the fuck you do not. If you
Shut
Yeah.
the
care,
fuck up.
walk over to them and be like, hey, actually, this is how you do this move. Like, be fucking helpful. Like, contribute to
Yeah.
your community. Or if you're that fucking concerned, get a staff member, be like, hey, I think this person might hurt themselves. Like, there's so many better ways to approach
Yeah.
that situation, but everyone wants fucking clout, wants that fucking 15 minutes of fame to make fun of
Yeah.
somebody on the internet. I'm just like, that enrages me.
I will say if you are somebody who is going to get into fitness on any kind of thing, find a teacher, a class, a trainer, and find a good one. Don't find a douchey like influencer one. Like find
Yeah.
somebody who's just like, hey, we're gonna figure out where you're at and figure out how you get where you want to go, and also one that's gonna be realistic with you too. Like,
Yeah.
if you have one that tells you, it's like, oh, you'll be doing a show in like however many things, and you'll be able to do this. It's just like that's a snake oil salesman. They're gonna look at you just like, okay, you need to improve your flexibility if you want to be able to do this. You need to be able to lift like 20 more pounds if you want to be able to do this. That kind of
Absolutely.
thing. But somebody who's just like, oh yeah, you'll be like, supermodel by like December. It's just like, fuck you.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have
Yeah.
you eat 1,200 calories a day and then you work out for 2 hours straight.
No.
Like, unfortunately, I've seen
Yeah.
that too often. I'm just like, and it's weird, they come in and they pass out. It's crazy,
Yeah.
crazy work.
It's so wild.
Nuts.
Focus on functional health, and like the main thing is like do it in a way that's sustainable, because that's the biggest thing. Crash dieting does not work. Trying to like get up really high weight for like a powerlifting type thing, you're gonna injure yourself. Again, bodybuilding is just like, trust me, you think like you see the bodybuilders and their cut and their fake tans and everything, it's just like that is literally the most unhealthy thing they could have possibly done.
Oh yeah.
They've done more damage to
There's-
their body doing that than I would if I had just downed an entire bottle of whiskey last night. Like, it is
110%.
insanely unhealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Also, there's so much joyful movement out there. You don't have to run
Yeah.
if you don't want to run. There's so many cool things you could do. That's why I became a dancer and an aerialist, because I found all that shit super boring. There's so many ways to make fitness work for you, and it doesn't have to be in a toxic way. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, BMI is bullshit.
Yes, it fucking is.
Me and Brie have been personally victimized by doctors saying it's just like, oh, you're obese. Go fuck yourself.
It's also
Hey,
a fun fact how
I had a Wii as a teenager. That scale did things to me too. All right.
that's how they can deny your insurance claims if your BMI is too high. They actually started doing that at physical therapy offices. So they can just say that you're injured because your BMI is too high and that they won't cover your physical therapy. So fuck that all the way. It's an insurance scam is what it is.
It's why I'm dreading going to do my intake for my new primary care, because now I'm on new insurance. And I already know I'm going to go in and they're going to be like, oh, okay, your body mass index, it's like you're technically obese. It's just like, I can bench press your car.
I've been in the like morbidly obese category for like years, and I'm like,
and like it's just like,
right?
They're just like, oh, your blood pressure is really, really high. It's just like, did you put the normal cuff on my arm? Have you seen how big my arm is? Go get the bigger one. And they're just like, well, you should really quit smoking. It's just like, I have a cigar maybe once every 2 months.
Yeah,
I don't think. And it's like, I think something else is going to kill me long before then.
Oh.
And it's like, well, your blood work works fine. It's just like, well, I drink a lot, so I'm very surprised by that, but okay.
Yeah.
Great news.
But yeah, not looking forward to that.
I haven't been to the doctor in so long. You both, it's bad.
I need to go so I can go get a vasectomy on insurance.
Oh yeah, vasectomy.
We got to get everybody sterilized.
We love that.
Can't have a child born in this world, but have it be my
No, God, no.
Not
this world.
All right. On that note, I think it's okay for us to wrap up. Seth, what are we doing for our homework assignment next time?
Oh, I thought of one earlier. See, I can only prep for like 2 things a week. You give me 3, and I'm like, shit, one of them's getting thrown out. I did think that I might be interested in doing the Dark Knight trilogy, maybe.
Okay.
One option. Oh shit, there was a show that I was like, we can watch a season of that. No, let's just do Dark Knight trilogy.
Okay, we do Dark Knight.
Cool.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
I haven't either.
I think I rewatched The Dark Knight actually, like maybe like over COVID.
Or I can see that. I haven't seen Rises since the year it came out.
Same. I don't think I've watched that.
I was about to say, I don't think I've ever seen it outside of the first time I saw it in a movie theater. I remember when the Aurora shooting happened and everybody was trying to get hold of you, Seth.
Yeah, and I slept in that day and scared a lot of people.
We were all like hitting you up. We were just like, yo, bro.
I remember my girlfriend at the time tweeting out, like, everyone, he didn't go to a showing last night. He's fine.
Yeah, I remember that tweet. I remember, like, I was basically bouncing between both of your feeds all
She's like,
night.
I don't know where he is right now, but I know he wasn't there.
Oh my god.
All right, cool. Well, anyways, I appreciate you guys showing up for another one of these things. I'm very sorry we've been delaying it so much. We're busy millennials, unfortunately, and getting 3 adults in the same
Yes,
room. Or
all
in
three
front
of us are very busy millennials. Such packed schedules
Like,
all
what?
the
I have
time.
to take this.
Every time, it's always me and Bree. Let's be honest, it's always me and
Yeah.
Bree, because every time me and Bree pitch a time, Seth's like, "Yeah, I can do that."
All right.
And we appreciate that. We appreciate your flexibility.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Anyways, I am TCK Media on most platforms. We have that Seth23, who you can find on the Tiki of Talkies. Always a
I'm
fun
sorry.
time, and you can see me flirting with him in the comments most of the time. And then you have the Raccoonaloon herself, who is still not doing Game Birds, even though we're gonna keep harassing her until she does.
We have 2 episodes backlogged. I don't know. So,
You keep saying that, and every time you say it, I believe it less.
And in fairness, we
Over
went from
there.
being a show every 2 weeks to now basically a show every month on here, so we can't be too judgmental.
Yeah, it's
True,
fair.
you know how
It's
it
fair.
Anyways, we appreciate it, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.